Welcome back, everybody. It's Paul Maglev here with Train Valley 2. In this episode, what are we going to do today? Ooh! Is there a new update? I think there's a new update. Hold on a sec. Build 21, that's new. I don't remember that being the case, but let's see. Ah, yes, so now I can actually scroll up and down a lot faster. This makes a lot more sense. I've still beaten all the levels and all that jazz, but we're looking at the Eiffel Tower for this episode. This level's a bit complicated because they changed around some of the criteria for earning the stars. For example, it wants us to not destroy any track tiles, which isn't that big a deal. The problem is when it says not to build any bridges. That's where I get thrown for a loop, because that's like going to be the bread and butter of this level if we want to be extremely successful and prolific. Just build like this. There we go. We should be able to build out to there. That should do it. I'm wondering if anything else has changed. Something tells me that there isn't much. But that's just a suspicion. The semester's almost over. It's May 1st. It's payday! Apparently. And what else was there? So yeah, that's something to take note of. Semester's almost over. Just kind of taking my time. Gotta pace myself at school and all that. Was there anything else that was on my mind? There's been a lot of stuff that seems to be happening in the world around me, but within the immediate scope of my own personal life, I don't think there's really anything quite substantively taking place at the moment. Unless this list is to be anything to go by. It's a good thing I make lists because I always forget what I want to talk about. So yeah, I've already applied for another job, I think. I don't see... I'm not sure where it's gonna go at this point. But we'll see. We shall see. Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about that one chick on the internet whose name I forgot. But I can't remember her name, so I guess we're not gonna talk about her. Moving on. That experiment in the backyard of composting is kind of giving me a bit of a hard time. Not necessarily because it's doing what it's supposed to do or it's not doing what it's supposed to do. It's because the process by which it's doing so is, how should we say, inconvenient. Usually when you have a properly functioning compost bin, you have a nice even layer of clean fill stacked on top of the stuff you're trying to decompose. And unfortunately, I don't have that at the moment because my compost bin is a tumbling compost bin, so all that clean fill just kind of mixes together with all the other stuff I add to it. All the foodstuffs, and as a result of that, certain invertebrates are getting their grubby little feet all over the compost. The ones that I wouldn't prefer to have, to be honest, because I'm okay with the isopods, like the pill bugs and stuff, the millipedes, the centipedes, and all that kind of stuff, but what I will never hear the end of is the overabundance of fruit flies that I'm putting up with. It's that overwhelming majority of fruits that I put in the compost bin that seems to be luring them in, coupled with the fact that they aren't suppressed by a nice layer of that clean fill I just mentioned, which means they're exposed to the elements. And when that happens, the fruit flies come in, they lay their eggs, they reproduce, and every time I try to open the compost bin, it's like, how do I explain it? It was a surprise the first time it actually happened, but it was like confronting the Lord of the Flies, because you just open it, you open the hatch to the tumbling compost bin I got, and the next thing you know, you're being swarmed by flies. And I really don't like that. But you open it up and it just starts spewing them out like a kid that's throwing up. I guess that's not a very pleasant image to think of, but that's usually what I think of. I really want to get this to move along. I would really like to build a bridge, but something is telling me that I don't want to. We will definitely need a lot of coal for forging all this steel down here. But yeah, we're just gonna have to take our time, I guess. And boom goes the dynamite. I think we're gonna have to go send some more trains out. And we're going to have to repair all of the stuff we just broke. I was really hoping I wouldn't be making that sort of mistake. But hopefully, as time goes on, I'll just get used to the flies, regardless of their abundance. Or I'll find some other way around it. If there's a will, there's a way. As far as I can tell. And I think that was pretty much all there was for that update for the compost bin. What else was on my mind? I've been trying to catch up on some stuff that I've been watching online and on TV and all that. I thought it was going to be more difficult than it actually was, but I don't know, every time I just get a bit of spare time, I guess it just works out. I find exactly what I'm looking for, and then I get to watch it, and it doesn't take as much time as I thought it would. I think the series that got my attention the other day that I was finally able to catch up on was Rooster Teeth's The Nomad from Nowhere. I don't know why it tickled my fancy to go and just take a look at it, because artistically speaking, it's not the best thing since sliced bread. I'll just leave it at that. But it still feels like a diamond in the rough for me, and I can appreciate it in that respect. I think the biggest issue is something that gets faced by most forms of two-dimensional animation that's rendered by hand, whether digitally or on paper, and that's usually perspective. Because the draftsmen and the animators are usually not one and the same, though they really need to have that sort of interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary expertise to accurately get something animated within the correct perspective. And that's why I find some awkward optical issues every now and again. For example, when you have two objects that are the same size, and you place them further away from the field of view, the one that's further away should be smaller. And it should be scaled proportionally. But, unfortunately, that seems to be one of the mistakes that I see most frequently. But that's just from my perspective. I understand that nothing's perfect. And I'm pretty sure that there's always room for improvement to be made. I think the other series I was going to be trying to catch up on was... what was it? I think it was the 5th volume of Ruby. Because I haven't seen it. I have tried to avoid all the spoilers I possibly could to the best of my abilities, and it's not going well. I really couldn't see it over the fall of 2017, because even though that's when it came out, I was preoccupied with that advanced environmental impact assessment course, and I was just not going to have my emotional heartstrings tugged again after what happened in the 3rd season. While I was doing work over at a craft store and doing the advanced environmental impact assessment course, like I just said. I'm repeating myself, but you get the idea. I didn't want to juggle all of those things at the same time. I just wanted to watch some dumb stuff instead. Just try to keep it simple. But now that the semester's almost over, I should be able to catch up on that, just binge it all at once. Near the end of the semester, after exams are done, I guess. I feel like I'm gonna have a conflict of rail traffic very, very soon. Okay, maybe not quite yet. Yeah, not yet. We're just gonna have to wait for this train with Goldor to get to its destination. Shouldn't be too long. Yeah, simple pimple. I think the other thing I wanted to catch up on that was from last semester was certain games that I had gotten into my collection from Steam. The one with the greatest emphasis, though, is probably a psychological horror game slash visual novel parody called Doki Doki Literature Club, and I've been trying to avoid spoilers for that as well, but I've been a lot less successful at trying to avoid spoilers for that. And I finally did actually get to start playing it, but it's a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. So I haven't seen any of the weird paranormal stuff that's supposed to happen or whatever. Or at least that I would have expected. But yeah, that's probably something else I should probably hold off on until the semester's over, but knowing me, I get impatient. But I just feel like I should be able to catch up on these things quite easily and not have to worry about stuff. And this is taking too dang long. Yeah, this is taking too long. No, wait, that's just my impatience talking again. I'm just gonna add some double lanes, or I'm going to have more track, is what I mean to say. So one track is going to be running parallel to another track so I can have trains going in both directions. That should save me some time. And I just sent a coal train over to the ore mines. I should not have done that. But we must hold on to the last 3 stars we got. At all costs. There's probably some other stuff I wanted to talk about. It'll probably come to me soon. I think I stumbled across someone who had... Oh, this is really weird. They were asking for $1 over at the station platform while I was waiting for the train to arrive when I was heading off to school. Apparently they had left their wallet on one of the trains or whatever, and they needed the extra $1 to actually get back to wherever they were going. And although most people would be highly suspicious of hearing that, I was like, I'll give you this $1, it's not gonna be that big a deal. And as far as I can tell, it did work out as I had intended. He actually got the extra $1 he needed to get the ticket he was looking for and to hop onto the train, because as soon as I saw him walk over to the other platform, he actually did go to one of the boxes that vends out all the tickets, and before I knew it, he was actually gone on the southbound train for Santa Teresa, was it? Yeah, it's Santa Teresa. So yeah, that happened. I think perhaps the strangest occurrence, though, might have been yesterday. I think it was only strange and anomalous because I had to go home late in the evening, which is never really a good thing when you're taking the public transit in your city or town or whatever. It's usually best to just get your job done before the late evening, because that's when... How do I explain it? I think that's when some of the people who we usually don't look forward to encountering usually show up. I'm not talking about like the destitute or that sort of thing, because I'm totally fine with them just doing whatever they want on the train, saying whatever they want and doing all that, which I have encountered before. That's not what bothers me. It's usually the smell. I don't know why, it smells awful. And I don't know why smelly people decide to just go on the trains later in the day, but that's just something I've noticed. I think they haven't scrubbed out the trains either after a long day of work, so the smell just kind of lingers. Oh, these double tracks are finally working out for me a little bit. That should do it. Actually, I think we have enough... We have enough steel. Oh. We still got 2 stars. Dang it. Oh well. What was the next one I was going to do? It was this level, that's right. And I've got this weird thing I have to lay out first before I do anything else. Yeah, it looks kind of like this. And after I have all of that laid out, I should be able to get this Mario Party started. That's better. It's always important to have a plan when it comes to these levels, but knowing exactly what the right steps you need to do are first requires actually having some sort of experience with each level. And I forgot to flip that switch, didn't I? Oh well. But hopefully we'll have enough money to actually lay out the infrastructure I have in mind for this level. Was there anything else that I wanted to mention? I think the excessive amounts of vibrations on the scooter that I've been using because of its lack of suspension has caused some of the bolts to come loose. And I've had to deal with that the way I normally do, by tightening these bolts, which wasn't a big deal, as far as I can tell. I just got to tighten them up the other day, and everything was finally exactly where I wanted it to be because the vibrations were just shaking all the parts loose. So with that all taken care of, I had just decided to go on my merry way this morning, but I realized that I had over-tightened something, and I needed to give some extra clearance for this little lever that I have on the left handlebar for the dynamic brakes. So on the way to school today, I had to deal with a sticky dynamic brake, where as soon as I'd engage it, it would just keep going. And I was really hoping that wouldn't happen, but it kind of did anyway, so... oh well. I did get to fix it, and now the lever moves back and forth as smoothly as I wanted to. But with that sorted, we should be able to build a bridge. Right. Nope, we do not have enough cash. I guess we're gonna build this instead. Yeah, that sounds about right. And I have too many, oh wait. Yeah, I don't have enough cash to get extra locomotives, so we're just gonna have to wait. What else did I want to talk about? Yeah, I really can't think about what else I wanted to mention. I could mention some of the things I found on the road, for example, on the way home, but that's kind of a, what's the word I'm looking for? That's kind of boring. Or at least I thought it could potentially be boring. So I guess we're just not going to talk about the stuff that I found. Because I just found the stuff that I normally do, which is just a bunch of junk. And sometimes loose change. I don't know why people lose their loose change in the middle of the roadway. It confounds me to no end. Now that we got this built out, I think I made a mistake. Oh well. It's not gonna be that big a deal. Because I have all the tracks laid out to go to the places that I need to go, and that's all that matters. But if anybody has any idea on why there's so much loose change on the road, feel free to give your input. Even if it's just a hunch, it helps. Because I really just can't imagine why people just keep losing it all the time. Because, like, you're in a car. Or at least most of the people I pass by are in cars. So how do they lose their spare change? But I think that was pretty much all I could think of, as far as I can tell in terms of updates. So we've got all the tracks laid out. What else do we... Oh! Yeah, I do need to change this up a bit. There we go. So now I can get all the glass over to the glass factory, and then I can hook up this over to the brick kiln. But I have to be extra careful though, because the direction at which these trains are going requires me to maintain the switches face the right direction. At least from my experience. Let's get another one, by the way. It's just to help speed things along. I think that'll do. There is one thing I'd like to point out, and it's this little locomotive that's sticking out of the window of this station. I can't remember which scene. I can't remember which event in history that came from, but I think it happened in France back in the late 1800s or something. I think that's a reference to a very famous derailment, if my memory is correct. I'll be able to post some of the images and contextual details over this footage, I guess, to kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about. I thought that would have given me enough cash. Oh well. Still don't have enough cash. Shoot. We are $1,000 off from where I really need to be. But not anymore. So long as we get what we're looking for. But we've got the 8 panels of glass we want to send to the town in this valley here. As far as I can tell. Gotta stop saying that. But yeah, we can send some glass over to that station to go patch up that window. And from there, that should be it, aside from the bricks. Yeah, that should do it. And I just sent a train in the wrong direction again. Dang it. But we'll just back it on up. And then we'll be able to send it in the right direction. That's better. Oh, we've maxed out on the number of locomotives we can have. But yeah, I think that should do it. Should do it to it. Actually, no, wait, we need more glass. Which means we need more sand. Or, yeah, sand from the quarry. So we'll just go and flip this around. Send it over to the glass factory again. Just to be extra secure. That's better. Now you might be wondering why I'm recording in the middle of the daytime, and the reason for that is that I just don't care. That's all there is to it. Normally I try to record in the evenings because then I don't have the ambient light behind me interfering with the footage in any sort of way or being distracting or that sort of thing. Because to me it's distracting and annoying and all that. But yeah, I try to avoid recording during the day, but this time around I feel like I need to churn a video out as soon as possible, and the recording session I did back on, was it Friday or was it Saturday? I just didn't feel like I was just spiritually up to it, so I just wanted to take another recording of this episode just to make sure that everything's the way I want it to be. It's better. There is one thing though that I can mention, and that is the fact that I have been taking a look at another train game that just got my attention on Steam. And as far as I can tell, it is the... what is it? The game is... what was it originally called? Was it called Conduct This? Or is it just Conduct? But I have Conduct Deluxe, which has all the extra materials or whatever. All the extra levels, I guess, related to the mobile version of the game. Because there's the Steam port now, and I am surprised I didn't notice it before, if I hadn't, because I think I might have spotted it at one point, but I just kind of passed it off, thinking it wasn't going to be anything significant or worth noting, but I've taken a look at it again, as a third look, and third time's the charm, of course, because now I realize the potential from taking a look at that game, and it's pretty exciting and enthralling. Just basically imagine Train Crisis if it was a bit cuter, with less articulate details and stuff on the locomotives and whatever. Speaking of which, they actually do have a Steam port for that as well, though I must admit that it's not perfect. I just messaged the developers in the discussion threads associated with it, and they're like, yeah, we understand some of the issues, and did they say they were going to do something about it, or did they say they weren't going to do something about it? I forget. But anyway, that's going to be it for this episode. I will see you all in the next video, and until then, take care, stay awesome, stay true to yourself, and remember to never give up. Bye, everybody!